Hi all, welcome to another video, and it's a nice evening here in Sydney today, and we're close to 7 p.m. now. So it's been a really good day. It looked amazing from when I was in my apartment. It looked nice and sunny, but as soon as I stepped out, I realized that, you know what, it's not. It's actually a bit cold thanks to the strong winds and all. But all in all, it's okay. Our winter is over, and now we are looking forward to the spring here in Australia. So it should be good. And given how we've had sunny days for the last week, things are looking up. I'm seriously looking forward to the spring. Okay, so in this video, I'll talk a little bit about one of the problems that I solved or I've come across recently, and just what's interesting is just my thought process behind it, because it wasn't just I was involved in a particular project, but it wasn't just me, it was someone else with me on that. Okay, so before I keep beating about the bush, let me get into it. So the problem that I'm going to talk about is regarding a chat application and uploading a file and showing the preview of that file in the chat window. Okay, so now I'll try to set some context for it. So let me explain this, and let me try to paint a word picture of this so you get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Before I get into the meat of this discussion. Okay, so say you've got a chat application. Now it's a chat application where there's a one-to-one chat. So you start off and by launching the chat window, and from there you can converse with the person on the other end. Now, once you're in the conversation, during the conversation, you may or may not want to send a file to that person that you're talking to. So it could be, and that file could be anything. It could be an image, it could be a video, it could be like an audio file or something. You could potentially you would want to send like anything, any type of file to this person. Could be a like a Word document, RTF, whatever. Uh, so yeah, now this is the problem that I was facing, and the thing is, once you see, in case you are doing this, in case you're sending a file from one person to the other, what you want to do is typically you want that file to appear as a downloadable link to the person who's receiving the file, but at the same time, you also want that file to appear as a thumbnail in the chat window of the person who sent the file. So, the problem that I was facing was to render that image in the chat window of the person who sends that file. So back in the day, to solve this problem, I would have immediately jumped on this, and I would say, you know what, I've got this image resizing library. So what I could do is, if I'm sending a file to to the person that I'm talking to, all I've got to do is just use this library and then resize it and convert that to a thumbnail that I can render within the chat window of the person sending it. And that's typically how I would have solved this problem, well, earlier in my career. And that's pretty much what I did. So when I was working on my day to do, I did face this problem, and the way I solved that was, at the time I was using GCP for this, like Firebase and GCP. So to solve this problem, what I did was, as soon as the file is being uploaded, um, the file will be saved in some object storage in let me explain this better. So the tools that I was using for mobile app back in the day was Firebase, and I was using that to store. And then, but Firebase is linked to GCP, that's Google Cloud Platform. So if you're uploading a file, you typically save it in object storage within Google Cloud. I cannot remember the name of it, but it's similar to AWS S3. Um, So once it's saved there, then with in GCP, what I did was I created a function which was the trigger. So as soon as the file is uploaded, it triggers a function which would resize the file and it would save a thumbnail of it. So that's what I knew, and that's what I did in the past, and that was something that worked for me, and that was really cool. So this time when I'm solving, and this was about like 7 8 years ago, but now when I'm trying to solve this problem, so I saw this issue. So instead of immediately, jumping on it and then saying that, what, let me just get some library to resize the file and create a thumbnail and then, then render it. I took a pause. I read the requirements of it and I realized that, what? That's not going to work. So the solution that I had, yes, it would work for images, but images were not the only file types that were supported. We were also, for the chat application that I was working on, we were also supporting uh, documents, then videos, and so on and so forth. So now, how do I convert that to a thumbnail and then render that? That was the first thought that I had. The second thought, was, uh, do do I have the budget to do so? And that was a question, because this would require a significant, well, not significant, but it would require a substantial amount of effort. And do I have the budget to do so? Is there enough budget to do so? Because is there enough, like, to fund the hours spent on that? So there's some interesting question, that this thought process was something that tells me this is clearly the difference between, this only happens after you've got a bit of experience, and then you can go about, it changes the way you solve problems. As engineers, we're typically very trigger happy, because we just want to solve problems. Because we've got a hammer, that's our software engineering skills, and everything is a nail, so we can just hammer it. We can just solve every problem ever. That's cool. We're immortal. We're invincible. We're just awesome, 100%. But sometimes it takes. I mean, it's good to have a bit of caution, and it's good to approach the problem uh, a bit more carefully, and you've got to be a bit more. You've got to step back a little bit, and before writing that line of code, you've just got to see that, okay, will I be able to solve this problem in the time that I've got, and will I be able to solve it such that it is a consistent user experience, so across everything. And now in this case, while I had the file, while there was a library to convert the images to a thumbnail, there simply wasn't there wasn't a similar library to convert a video or a video or a document to a thumbnail, and then render it in the chat, render that in the chat history for the person that sent it. Yeah, that was it. That was a really interesting problem, and of course I have a solution for it. That will maintain consistency across all the file types. But I don't think I'll be implementing it at this point, because I don't think I have the budget for it. But if I do, I'll do that, and I'll make another video and share it with you all. So that's it. So this video is a little, you could call it a little tech light. So there, because I'm not talking about many specific technical details, but just an approach to solving a problem. So yeah, hope you like this video, and I am hoping to pick up the pace and continue making the videos now that things have settled down a little bit in my personal life. So I hope to keep doing this. So thank you for watching, and I wish you well, and live long and prosper.